You referenced something earlier. You said wisdom years. I found that really, really compelling because you referenced, I think you said 20 to 30. I'm now 30, just turned 30. So I guess I'm in my wisdom years. And one of the things...
Well, I think this one's the in-between. The 20 to 30 is like, right? Like just fucking go ham. And for everybody listening, this is the years to taste a lot of shit, make a lot of mistakes, have fun, try different things, like everything, eat it all. Go to the the salad bar and try every single thing that's in there. 30 to 40 is the refinement of 20 to 30. Especially if you really go at it, you're like, okay. I remember like 30 is when shit started popping for me. February 21st, 2006 is my first episode of Wine Library TV. Mm-hmm. So I'm 30, I just turned 30. And that is clear, the fact that within 3 months of my 30th birthday, the very clear public data, very clear indication of the shift in my career happened 3 months. So that was interesting. And I think those are when I think of 30 to 40, I refined a lot of things that felt natural 20 to 30. I refined my craft. I started to get to know myself better. When I think about 40 to 47, I'm like, that's an evolution of 30 to 40. I'm still refining, I'm still doing, but I'm starting to get into a thought of like, okay, I like have real grasp on things. I can do some real damage. Like I'm scared in the most positive way of what I'm gonna accomplish selfish and selflessly from 50 to 60, scared. I think it's going to be banana shit. I think everything that is me right now is minor leagues compared to what I'm gonna do 50 to 60, because I now have the context of 40 to 50, which is a more polished version of the refinement of 30, 40. And so for me, 50 to 60 feels like insanity. And then when I look at my 60 to 70-year-old business friends, I'm like, fuck, I get an entire another decade after that decade of doing it at 100. And then I start debating what happens at 70, right? Then I'm like, 70 to 80 is still a very clear decade for a certain very small group to continue to go ham and go fucking insane. I'm curious where I'll be. I know to 70, I'll be exactly the same way I am right now. It's inconceivable I'm not. Those 23 years are pretty clear to me. They're gonna look like the last 23 years. 70 to 80 becomes an interesting debate. Will I take any foot off the pedal? Will I go to a different place? I often fantasize of like going into like a cave in Peru and whoever wants to find me can come and we get 30 minutes and I just do that for the next 30 years of my life. I don't know. Obviously there's that very silly but very emotional goal of buying the jets for me. That's more fun to chase than like, I almost think the first time I might feel actual unhappiness or weirdness or some sort of version of like, might be if I buy the jets. Like I think about that a lot. I'm like, if this happens, was this such a romantic journey? This is not 30 and 40 and 20-year-old Gary thinking it's cool to say this. This was 12-year-old Gary telling Robbie Turnick and Eric Godfrey, I'm gonna buy this fucking team. This has been like a thing, like actually, like forever.
On that point of those wisdom years,
yes.
One of the things that came out of my refinement, as you call it, and my kind of, maybe I'm just at the start of my wisdom years,
yes,
was I look back on my perspective on exactly what you've talked about, on like hustling and like my own insane luck of being a very optimistic person in the worst situations. And I wonder, I say, Steve, is mindset a privilege? And if it is, because you described yourself as being happy, you've always had this drive, this motivation, is there a risk in us if our mindset is a privilege, in trying to advise others when they don't have the same privilege?
Couple things. One, everything's a privilege.
Yeah. Do you see what I mean though? Like,
of course I
got really scared. I think in the last 2 years.
No, this is incredibly powerful. Yeah. First of all, as a whole separate and intriguing conversation, everything is a privilege and everything is a vulnerability. And this is like an incredibly important subject to talk about. I think mental content is the ultimate privilege.
Yeah. Amen.
I think the second one is beauty. Yeah. I'm fascinated that we haven't gotten yet to attractive privilege. When I look at men and women navigate this world, there's nothing more clear to me in the privilege that like they're like white male. I'm like, attractive privilege makes that shit look fucking minor leagues if you look at the data.
So let's look at that then.
But I want to go back because I don't want to lose it, and I will lose it because I know how we roll. I have no interest in thinking that I'm telling anyone what to do or giving. I do not think that I'm giving advice. I really don't. and I don't touch on this enough, and I have touched on it at times, and this is a great format to touch about it. I have no belief that I'm right. I have no belief that I'm giving advice. I have no belief that anyone listening to this should do what I'm saying. I am putting info into the system, and I'm hoping that people can extract something of value for them based on their own self-awareness of themselves.
Most people don't have self-awareness.
I'm aware, which is why I talk about it so much.
Yeah.
There's a reason I talk about self-awareness so much, why it was a pillar of my last book, why it's a big character in V-Friends. Self-aware hair, the tortoise and the hare.
Yeah.
I think people don't, one day when I'm, I think 47-year-old Gary, for cynics and people that were watching, is better than they thought it would be than 27-year-old Gary, right? Like the hot takes on, I'll never forget when I hit the scene on Twitter, the whispers at conferences, I could hear them in the back room, in the green room. And I definitely read it on Twitter because I was like popping. They're like, out of everyone who's popping on Twitter in 2007, the consensus was the only person that won't be here in a decade is Gary. Because it was too hot, too fast, too much. People literally, I'm empathetic. When you have this kind of energy, I'm empathetic to how this story plays out for different people. I get why the person burns out. I get why the person really does the ultimate bad thing and disappears off the front. I get what that, but that's because I'm not on the extreme insecurity side. I'm on this other side. So I always knew. So, but one of the things, so I get a lot of like joy out of like knowing that so many people didn't think I'd be there and I'm at the top of it. Same way I feel about V-Friends. Nobody has a clue, including my inner circle, of how much thoughtfulness I did in character development. This is my Disney, this is my Sesame Street, Big Bird, Mickey Mouse, right? Optimus Prime, Pikachu. Like self-awareness is profound. The story of the tortoise and the hare is profound to every listener of this. There's not a single listener right this second that's listening here right now, if they're 8 or if they're 88, that isn't extremely vulnerable to the lack of patience because they're too ambitious. It's the reason they're listening. So self-aware hair for me is a phenomenal story I get to tell for the next 50 years. And I can't wait to make self-aware hair more famous than Garyvee is today, because that will be the way I scale putting positivity into the world, V-Friends. And so I'm excited about that. But back to your point, my friend, as long as you come from a place of humility and understand that ego kills people. Yes, we have some luxury of mindset and communication, but for me, I don't think people should listen to me. I think people should listen to everything and try to find positivity and usability out of everything. And they should dismiss what is clearly negative and selfish, and they should triple down on everything that is selfless and positive. And that is the answer to your question that started here. What should people do? They should be very, very focused on trying to do the following. Lean in dramatically more to things that are positive. Your grandfather, podcasts, Upworthy.com, lean into positivity. Then they should be on the awareness, eyes wide open, on is this delusional and lacks practicality? Like, if I just dream it, it will happen. No. Lean in, cut out. Literally, when this podcast is over, step back, audit your entire life from the people you spend time with, your family, your friends. Look at every person you follow. Are they triggering your insecurities for their own self-interest? Or are they trying to put love into it so that you go on and do your thing? Watch, look for it. But whatever you do, back to like working out, like, protein. And, when Mike Vacanti's like, all right, you did a lift, like protein. I'm like, really? Okay. And like during COVID, I'm like, wait a minute, I'm starting to finally get some muscles. Oh, because I was doing protein as fuck after lifts and not after not lifts. I was doing it right. Here's something right for everyone. Cut out 1 hour of negativity, add 1 hour of positivity. If you're listening right now and you're like, social is such a drag, it's because you're in a drag mindset and the algos and the people you follow are following you. You know what my social looks like? Fucking sunshine. I'm being dead fucking serious. You know what my algos look like? Fucking sunshine.